Okay, everyone, welcome back to our class on BC314. We're just giving an overview of different kinds of digital equipment that we typically use in a church or a ministry when we look at different areas, we see audio, camera, video, and all that. So we'll just try to finish that up. I know it's a little technical, but like I said in the beginning, the intention here is that you have some idea so that when you are having conversation, especially with these people, you know what to say, how to have a conversation with them. So now we move to podcasting. Now, we at APC ourselves, we're not doing podcasting simply because we feel there's already so much of content happening. Again, you add more, so we're not doing it, although there's been a lot of talk about it, and different people want to do this, in church. But nowadays, podcast has become very, it's big or something very a big way by which people are consuming content, because it's a very conversational style. So maybe like two or three, usually it happens like two or more people will sit and talk about some topic. So maybe one person is an expert on that topic, the other person is asking questions. Usually it'll be like that, or it could be two, three people. Like they're just having a conversation about something, and through that conversation they're bringing out knowledge, learning, so on. And so podcast has become a very big way of digital learning. And, people have made it very big, different ones. So it's a little different from the monologue, like one person speaking, somebody else listening. It's more of a conversation. And people like that. And to do a podcast is pretty simple. You just need some basic, you can have some nice microphones or basic microphones, or get on a Google Meet or Zoom call. That's also good enough. But generally people use good mics, good headphones, and a recording station to mix the sound. And if you're doing, if it's audio and video, then of course you also have a camera. So I've just given links to this website where, you can see what are the equipment that you need. If you have money, you can spend it high quality equipment. If you don't, it's okay. You could just do some very basic things and still get a podcast going. But today, just to make a note, nowadays there are people who have their podcast shows with 30 million subscribers, so they become very influential, maybe even more influential than politicians and others, because there's so many people, and depending on the content that they talk about, so it's huge, and it's huge influence. If you have a podcast show where people they like what you're talking about, or they're interested in those topics, you have so many people following, listening. And it's also a good way to learn, keep learning. So I listen to a lot of technical podcasts just to keep myself updated. But that's a good way to learn when people are talking about, what's the latest in technology and so on. Just listening to it, it's very good. Anyway, video production. So the next topic, which is, when you want to create a video, so let's say a short film, maybe even a TV program, or a short program, 5 minutes, whether it's 5 minutes, whether it's 25 minutes, whatever. The general process is there's a pre-production stage where you plan what you're going to do, right? So there's a planning stage. You have to have the script. You need the set, cast, crew, audio, and so on. So for example, our short films, we want to, last year we did all of this, and for now we have paused it. We will resume it. But when we want to do a short 5-minute film, we have the pre-production stage where, what's our budget? This is how much money we can spend. Most important, we write the script. right? What do you want? So it's okay. We want to write a script. We will write a script based on one particular theme. Like, for example, father's love. Okay. How can you come up with a script that communicates father's love, right? In 5 minutes. So there will be people who write a script. And we want to make it contemporary. That means it has to be relevant to today's urban youth. That's our audience. So write a short script, 5-minute script. That will be. Then when you're writing the script, you also have to keep in mind certain limitations, meaning you want to, because of your budget, you can't go and shoot like up in the Himalayas or up in the sky, your budget doesn't allow you to do that. So the script also has to match, the production. You're going to produce it in a small room, like in a living room setting, the conversation, all that. If you go outdoors, more expensive, things like that. So the script that you write, the story that you are setting, it has to fit into the set that you're going to use, right? So all that has to be taken. All that will be taken to pre-production, the set, the cast, who are the people who are going to do it, the crew, all that. What do you need? Equipment to shoot, all that. So and then you work out the budget. So you can arrive at a cost. This is what's going to cost for us to do it. So that's all in the pre-production stage. And many times we may go back and forth. I'll say, remove this, remove that, and all of that. Then you go into production, which is the actual shooting. So the cast, they have practiced their parts. They come, the set is all set, put in place, and we do the shoot, scene by scene. Right? Shooting happens. And even for a short 5-minute film, depending on what it takes, it's not easy. It doesn't take 5 minutes. It might take 2 days, depending on what the set is now. So it's not even though it's a film, final film may be 5 minutes, the production behind it is very elaborate. So scene by scene, they have to shoot. And so you need a producer, somebody who sees the full picture, who knows what every scene is going to look like, what they're going to say, how it's all going to fit. So that person will, guide everything. And then post-production. That means after you've shot all these things, somebody has to sit, cut all the videos, put it all together, sound effects, all those things, scene by scene. They have to do it, syncing the audio, the video, everything. If there are any errors, you see how to correct it, put in special effects and all that. So even producing that 5-minute short film would take good 2 weeks after production, to work on the video and do all this together. So it's a lot of work, even to produce a small, video, depending on what we're looking at. So for this, of course, people say, I need to hire cameras, and there are different kinds of cameras that we need. You may need a portable camera, something that you can move around very easily. You'll need a tripod. You'll need these external microphones. You'll need wireless mics that are pinned onto the crew, the cast when they are speaking. Now, there are different ways to do it. One is you can do it in a green screen. So the green screen actually makes, in some ways, it can make things very easy. That means, so the green screen is, like a person, imagine a person standing or in front of this green screen and recording. But when they are producing it, or when they put it all together, they replace the green screen with any kind of background. So you can show this man standing on top of the Himalayas, or, but actually it's a green screen. But what people see is, he's up in the Himalayas, he's standing there, or, any kind of background you could put. He's standing in front of Vidhan Saudha and talking, actually standing in a room and talking. But they replace the green screen with some Vidhan Saudha or whatever it is. So this way, the production cost comes down a lot, because you don't have to go and stand in front of Vidhan Saudha and shoot. Right? You can be inside a room with a green screen and shoot. You just replace a green screen with any landscape, anything that you want. It will look like this person is there. Only thing, this person must not wear anything green. Because when they're doing this green screen replacement, everything that is green will be replaced by the background. So that's the only requirement. So the people who are participating cannot wear anything green. I remember once in these early days, we used to shoot when we were doing our short messages. We used to shoot with green screen in the early days. Like I'm going back in 2001 to 2005 or something. In those days, we used to do green screen shooting. And those days, I didn't realize once my Bible cover case was green. First time I didn't think of it. So they had the pulpit. I put the Bible on top of the pulpit, but the Bible cover was green, little dark green. And I didn't think, nobody told me, they didn't see, nobody noticed. I didn't think about it. Nobody. So we shot the whole program. My hand was on the Bible, but the Bible is missing because it is everything that is green is replaced by the background. Yeah, you can put any, as if it's like a church background or something, you can replace it. And those days we put backgrounds that are matching the sermon. Like. So one particular shoot was like this. Oh, then you realize, and it was too late to correct. Okay, just let it go. But that's, other than that, green screen is very cost-effective way of shooting videos. Nowadays, when we do our Living Supernaturally videos, we do something like the same setup, just that we change the background. Like, so we're in a small room, and we just replace the background with different colored sheets. Actually, not colored sheets. It's a white sheet, but the color light that we project on the sheet, we just keep changing. So you can make it, whatever color you want. So the background changes to that color. So it looks like, you're standing with that background, but actually just light being projected on a white background. So it's just a cost-effective way of, changing backgrounds and so on. So these are different things that we can do. Green screen is used quite a bit, even in studios or newsrooms. Actually the newscaster is sitting in front of a green screen. And they're replacing the green screen with whatever they want to show. So it gives like, oh, this person is sitting in front of, I don't know, maybe on top of some tall building with a cityscape of Bangalore behind them. And they're sitting in a room, green screen at the back, and everything's being changed. And so just thing. And these are lighting, LED lights. So we buy this, and you can control these lights. You can increase the brightness, increase the warmth, the yellow, the white. So you can control the lighting. Right? And these are the things, that reflectors kit that they use. So these are the things that you need when you're doing a video shoot. Most of these things will be rented. Some things we own. That means we own some cameras. We own some of these LED lights we have, so because we keep on using it, so we don't need to rent it. But other big things we rent and use it for our shoots. This is the kind of computer you need generally for editing the videos. You need a high power computer. And so just given that information in case somebody wants to buy that. Another thing is live streaming. So live streaming, of course, we can do it on all of these platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. All of these platforms allow live streaming. So it's very easy, actually, these days, if you want to do live streaming, to share your event so that other people can watch it, see it. But if you want to do it very well, then there's a little bit more involved way to do it. So this is on page 71. The graphic looks blurred. Anyway, so giving a high-level overview. Prince, share. Giving a high-level view of what happens in live streaming. So we have audio and video input. It comes to a video switcher. So a video switcher is basically, you can have multiple video inputs. So usually you will have 3-4 cameras from the auditorium sending you input. The video switcher says, okay, for the output, show this camera, that camera, that camera. So you're showing different things that are happening in the auditorium. So that somebody is managing that. And the person managing the video switcher is also talking to the people in the camera, saying, hey, show this person, show the guitarist, you go show this person. So he's also directing them, and he's also switching, right? Because you're trying to give people a view of all that's happening inside the auditorium. So the audio video switcher, right? The audio is basically coming in from all the inputs. The mixing is happening. Then the output of that goes into an encoder. Now, an encoder it can be software driven or hardware driven. There was a time when when we're doing hardware driven. Hardware driven it makes it much faster, but nowadays our software driven encoders are also good. So we use OBS, which is a broadcast software. It's open source. It basically takes all the output, the audio video output, and then puts it in a format that is suitable for broadcast. So we still have this hardware encoder, but we don't use it these days. We just work with OBS, the broadcasting software. It encodes it, and then we push it out into the internet. Now, to go out into the internet, of course, you can go directly. If you're having only one channel, example, YouTube, right? You can go directly to YouTube, right? But what we do is that same output is going to a few different channels. Like we go to YouTube, we go to our church website, we also go to Facebook. I'm not sure that we're doing Vimeo. Vimeo, I think we just put a copy of it later. But live, we're doing at least 3 different. So you can add how many number of platforms you want. So that's why we use a switcher. And then we have our own server that pushes it out to multiple platforms. Right? So you switch. We have a server there running that on the cloud. And then we connect it to our accounts on various platforms, YouTube, Facebook Live, church website, so on. So this part, the switcher and all that, you don't necessarily need. You can go straight from OBS directly to YouTube or wherever. But because we're doing multiple platforms, same time, we do this. So that's what happens. So if you go back to that earlier picture, the mixing, the in-house mixing happens here through the front of house console, external console, and then it goes to the streaming Mac. The audio goes to streaming Mac, and on which the OBS software runs here, and then from here it goes out into the internet. Or on the picture on page 72. It's a little bit more complicated thing, but don't worry about it. It's just showing you that inputs from different cameras, they come to the video switcher. From the video switcher, it goes into this OBS Studio computer, and from there it goes out into the internet for broadcast. Right? But this is the thing. So, like we said, this team of people, they sit there in the back in the green room, and so there's a team that does the media presentation. There's a team that does the video streaming. There's a team that does audio mixing for broadcast. So different teams are there, and all comes together, and then goes out into the internet. Right? So it's giving you these things here. And also an idea of if you're going to hire equipment, so on. All right, I think, it's the last page. So stage production. So basically the idea is you want the stage to look nice. Nowadays, in times past, people used to bring in, put flowers here, power plots here, put this curtain here. That was a lot of work. Nowadays, just put one LED screen, keep changing the background. You can have whatever background you want. It makes our work so simple. And you just make whatever graphics you want for the LED screen and keep changing it. So basically for the stage, you'll be thinking about the LED wall, you'll think about the graphics, and you think about lighting. So very easy. Change the color of the light, the whole thing changes. You're going to go red color, green color, blue color. And so without too much work, we're kind of creating a nice thing on the stage, matching the song, background can change, all those things. Yeah. Now we try not to do too much during worship, because sometimes it can become a distraction. Like when during worship especially, if you start showing all kinds of nice graphics, some people be thinking about the graphic instead of worshiping out, oh, what is that picture? Where did it come from? So during worship, we try to keep just a simple background and show the lyrics. Let people concentrate on worship. Don't distract them too much. Don't create any, too much animation. I think just keep it simple. Because the goal is let people read the lyrics and worship God. During sermon, you can use the background to show the scriptures or have graphic that matches the sermon. To some extent, you're engaging, but you want to, again, keep the focus on the sermon and not create a distraction by the graphics that come on with it. So to that balance, you have to keep in a balance when you're using the production on the stage. What we should do, or we are thinking about, is the audio translation. Of course, you can have people sitting and doing the translation, while you're speaking. That is good. But nowadays, many churches are using AI-based translators. So while the pastor is speaking in English, immediately it's coming out in other languages. That's all software-driven. So you don't have real people sitting and doing it. It's coming out. So that is also happening. We haven't started doing that yet. We've been, interested in it, but we haven't, because these live platforms are commercial platforms. You have to pay for it. So we're just thinking of doing something that doesn't cost us a lot of money. But this is, again, things that people are already doing nowadays, where you have live translation to many languages driven by software. Okay. Yeah, so we've reached the end of this chapter. Yeah, maybe made it. Just to give us an exposure about all that can be done with the use of technology and equipment. Next week, I'll talk about software platforms, and I'll just, I may have shown this in our second year when we were doing a course, the other on, I think it's, we had another course where we, in the previous year, semester we did on church administration. So I may have shown this a little bit, but I'll show you an updated things on software platforms next week. That will be more of a demo thing. So I'll just be showing you what we're using. So you get an exposure that actually behind a lot of what is happening in church, there are all these software platforms that we're using. And this is how we manage the data, and this is how everything is happening. Yeah. Any questions on digital equipment before we close? All fine? Okay. So remember, you don't have to be an expert in any of this, because there are people who are experts. Just that you need enough to know to have a conversation with them and tell them, see, this is what we'd like to do, or please don't do this, and so on. Have the conversation, and then it will all be fine. So we'll stop here for today. Next week, we'll talk about software platforms, which will be more of a demo. I'll just be showing you the things that we are using at APC. and I'm sure other churches will be using bigger and better things, but I'll show you what we are using. Okay, so we'll close for today. Thank you for your patient listening. For your exam, I'm not going to ask anything technical, so don't worry. This whole thing was just for just to give us an exposure. Okay, thank you. We'll meet again next week.